If you're building a mobile app with Supabase using AI tools, you can quietly lock yourself into a really fragile setup that's incredibly hard to fix later. Everything might feel fine right now. The app works, the data is there. This isn't about Supabase being bad. Supabase is great. It's about avoiding a setup mistake that can lead to a lot of angry users and lost revenue just as your app starts to take off. If you're early in your app's development, this is the moment to fix it. And if you're further along, don't worry, we can fix that too. I've seen this pattern over and over. A client brings me a mobile app, maybe even one that has real traction. It might be built with AI tools or even something like Flutterflow, but it's connected straight to a live Supabase instance hosted on supabase.com. Tables created directly in the dashboard, everything works, so we just go to make what seems like a small change, nothing risky, maybe just a small tweak to make way for a new feature or fix a bug. On one project I was working on recently, a hidden database trigger sent about 3,000 onboarding emails all at once. We didn't click send, there was no warning, no preview. The trigger had been created months earlier, buried in the database somewhere, and there was no safe way for me to see it, test it, or even know it existed. Some of the users were not cool about it. The real problem was that the database had no visible history and no safe place to experiment with new changes, and no clear line between let's try something out and affecting real users. When you connect AI tools to a live Supabase project and build everything in the dashboard or with an MCP server, you're compounding that danger because you probably aren't stress testing every line of code that it spits out. That works in the beginning. It doesn't work once your app starts evolving. But here's where you say, hey, John, I've been smart. I spin up a second Supabase project for development. And that's a great instinct, but when you make 400 changes to development every day, do you just try to remember what they were and reapply them by clicking the same buttons in the Supabase dashboard in production? Yeesh. And this is usually the point where someone says in the comments, but John, Supabase has branching. Yes, I know. Supabase branching is a feature Supabase built in to solve exactly this problem, and in theory, it's a fantastic idea. So let me make a genuine request. If you are actively using Supabase branching on a real live app with users as your primary way of handling this dev versus prod problem, please drop a comment. I am not being facetious here. I genuinely want to hear about it because I have tried to make Supabase branching work until I was blue in the face. The moment a database has any real history, any real complexity, that feature doesn't hold up in practice. At least it hasn't for me. I would love for branching to work and that just be the answer. It would make my life easier. But for the kind of apps I work on, it doesn't. So let's get to the real solution. It's time to learn about migrations. Here's the shift that actually matters. You can run Supabase locally on your own machine, on your laptop, not in the cloud, not touching real users. Think of this as a private sandbox, same auth, same database, same storage, but completely isolated. If something breaks, it doesn't matter. You just reset it and move on. And this is where AI tools really shine. You can let them experiment, generate code, try ideas without every change immediately affecting production. And that's the key difference. When AI is pointed straight at a live Supabase project in the cloud, you're trusting it not to do something irreversible. And that's fine for a weekend project, but it's not fine once real users are involved. Anyway, migrations. The simplest way to think about migrations is this. They are the codified history of how your database evolves over time. Instead of your database being a mystery that lives in a dashboard on supabase.com, every structural change gets recorded in code, in order, and on purpose. And the AI agents help with this. You don't have to handwrite the SQL. You can tell an AI tool what you want to change in harmony with your application code, even in the same prompt, and have it generate the migration for you. You really just need to know that you need to tell the AI to write a migration. If you don't tell it to do that, it won't do it instinctively. You can even make changes visually in the dashboard, then ask the AI to codify the difference as a migration. The payoff here is huge. You can wipe your local database completely, recreate it from scratch, and it ends up exactly the same every time. That's what turns a database from something fragile into something reliable. And if you already have a production database in the cloud, this isn't a lost cause. You can take the current state of the database, pull it down, and treat it as the starting point, the first codified chapter in your database's history. From there, everything changes. You make updates locally. You experiment safely. If something goes wrong, you reset and try again. And every real change gets codified as part of that history. When you're ready, you promote those changes to production, deliberately and with confidence. This is the workflow that I use now. It's boring, it's reliable, and it scales with both your app and your team. If you want to learn this properly and get my help implementing it, check out the link in the description. I share practical workflows for building real mobile apps with AI, not demos, not weekend hacks. So subscribe for more app development tips, and I will see you in the next one.